Hey guys, so before I introduce this video at all, I'm going to just kind of start off with some products I'm using. So I'm first using the Olay All Day Moisturizer just to kind of prep her skin, and then I'm using the Mercier Radiance Primer. After that, I'm going to be using the Becca Under Eye Brightener just to kind of brighten under her eyes, just so when applying foundation, it's kind of less to cover. So for foundation, I'm going to be using the RCMA foundation. This is one of their sampler palettes. I believe it's the VK11. And I'm just taking a color that matches her skin tone. And I love this foundation because you don't need a lot at all. There's 50% pigment in it. There's all natural ingredients, and it's a family-owned company, and the product itself is so amazing. So I'd really recommend it. So this is Danielle. She is a model in Vancouver, Canada. She was nice enough to let me borrow her face for this video, which is super awesome. I will leave her Instagram in the title and description down below so you guys can follow her. She has super awesome modeling pics. So for this video, Danielle has quite fair skin, so I wanted to kind of do a fair client tutorial and show you guys how to do liquid winged liner on clients. Also, the eyes are quite blended out, bronzy, and I'm also doing quite dewy skin. I found the best way to apply this foundation was first apply it with a brush and then blending it out just to make sure it's not streaky with a sponge. So just a tip if you guys did want to buy this product. The next thing I'm going to be using is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC20. I'm just using this under her eyes and also on the high points of her face. She doesn't have any blemishes, which makes my job 10 times easier. So we're just using this kind of to highlight and to cover any dark circles. This is the Chanel Tan du Soleil bronzer, and for fair skin, for applying bronzer on, a lot of people are scared because it's going to look too orange or too dark. So basically what you want to do, and I know a lot of people are also scared of this product itself on fair skin, but you really just want to take a small amount and blend it out. Just because it will be more visible and more of a contrast on their skin depending how much you take. So you just want to take a small amount and really blend it out. This bronzer is perfect for that in my opinion, just because it blends out so well and it isn't too heavy when it goes on. So every time before I apply the Mercier translucent powder, I will just tap under my client's eyes just to make sure none of the concealer is creased, and then I'll go in and I'll just press in some of the powder. This will be brushed away later, but I don't use too much, just enough that it really sets the under eye concealer. So now I'm using the Maybelline Super Stay Better Skin powder, and I'm just powdering the rest of her face. I'm just kind of lightly putting it in the areas where I didn't put that Mercier powder, and I'm using a super light amount so it doesn't get cakey and we still have that dewy effect. I'm now using the Benefit Hoola bronzer, and with this bronzer as well, you just want to be a little bit light with it and make sure you really blend it out and have a gradient effect. So I'm just contouring her face. And using a large eyeshadow brush, I'm going to be contouring her nose. It's a little bit harsh at first, but I just blend it out, and I also use my beauty blender to blend it out. So it's just important that you kind of blend it out afterwards to make it look more natural. This is Makeup Geek's Romance Blush. It has a little bit of shimmer in it, so it contributes to the glowy effect. I find this blush looks really, really nice on tan and fair skin. So if you are looking for a blush for your kit, I think this one is a really good one if you do want a bit of a shimmery blush. And this is Becca Champagne Pop. I'm just using the Jaclyn Hill Face Palette, but I'm just putting this on the high points of her face. Now using Sanias Brow Bar, this is in the shade Light. It's her mechanical brow pencil. I'm just putting it in areas I believe need to be filled in. I'm not a super huge fan of super filled in eyebrows. I just like it to look a little more natural and just in places that actually need it and to make it look more even. Now I'm using the Alexa Persico concealers. I just use these concealers because they're easily accessible. The other ones from MAC I would have to pump out, and it usually causes me to waste product. So the concealer pots I can just take a bit out, and I'm just cleaning up the edges of her eyebrow. And then using the MAC Clear Brow Gel, I'm just brushing up and setting her eyebrows, and then I'm going to repeat the same steps on the other eyebrow. Now using MAC Painterly Paint Pot, I'm using this as a base for her eyeshadow. I find this primer base works really, really well, especially if you really want to make sure your eyeshadow lasts. And then I'm setting that with the Sigma Ray of Light Highlight Duo, and I'm just putting that all over her eyes just to set that cream product so all the powders blend easily on top. This is Makeup Geek Creme Brûlée eyeshadow, and it's a super light brown, and I'm just using that kind of all over her eye, mostly on her crease, but I also blend it out. This is just a really good transition shade and also really helps with blending with other shades later on. Now using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Havana bronzer, it's basically just a warm tone bronzing color, and I'm taking a smaller eyeshadow brush and I'm concentrating that in the creases, and then I'm going to be blending that out. From the Lorac Unzipped Gold palette, I'm going to be using the shade Undeniable, and it is a medium brown, and I'm concentrating that on her lash line and a little bit in her crease. Using Too-Faced glitter glue, I'm putting that on her eyes just so the colors on her lid stick better and are more pigmented. This is also from the Lorac Gold Unzipped palette, and it's kind of like an ivory shade. It's matte, and I'm just putting that on her eyes. Going back in with that Anastasia Beverly Hills Havana bronzer, I'm just kind of putting that on the outer thirds of the eyes, blending everything together because I don't want there to be any harsh lines. This shade is a shimmery bronze shade, and I'm kind of just putting that in the middle of her eyes just to kind of reflect a little bit of light and give a little bit of shimmer. Then using the darkest brown shade in the palette, I'm taking a small eyeshadow brush and I'm concentrating that mostly on her lash line and taking it a tiny bit in the crease. Using the makeup sponge we use for the foundation, I'm just basically cleaning up the edges of her eyeshadow. I wanted to warm up the look a bit, so I'm taking this orange eyeshadow, it's from Inglot, and I'm just kind of carelessly putting that in her crease and blending everything together. Now taking that medium brown and that darkest brown that we used in our crease, I'm just putting that on her lower lash line. So you want to use a spoolie if you are going to be doing makeup on someone else, and this is just basically a brush that has a spoolie on the end of it, and I'm using the Better Than Sex waterproof mascara from Too Faced. So now I'm going to be doing her liquid eyeliner, and how to be sanitary while doing liquid eyeliner. As you can see in the back, you can see a bottle, and that is basically rubbing alcohol. The back just gets messier and messier as the video goes on because that's just where I put all of my makeup. Anyways, you want to take the rubbing alcohol and a paper towel, and you just want to put a bit on, and every time you want to dip your brush into the actual tube, you're going to want to first rub it on the paper towel that has the rubbing alcohol just to make sure it gets sanitized, and then you could put it back in the tube. So how to go about doing liquid eyeliner, everyone has their own technique. So what I like to do first is line the top of their eyes. You could either have it closed or for them to look down. I put my thumb on their eyelid and kind of push in just the tiniest bit, just so it kind of lifts up more of their eyelid, just in case they also want a super skinny line. That's a really easy way to get really close to the lash line. Also, when I'm doing the actual wing, I'll get them to open their eyes and look straight so I can draw the line, and then I'll get them to close their eyes so I can connect it. This is the Oh Honey lip liner from MAC, and while my eyelashes are starting to get tacky a bit with the glue, I'm just going to be lining her lips just to save a bit of time. So these lashes are called Supermodel, and they are from Slay Lashes. I really like them. They were really full lashes and super wispy, super kind of baby doll like lashes that make your eyes look really big. Next, this is the Bleach Liquid Lipstick from Limecrime, and it's kind of like a medium pinky color. We wanted to put that on first, and once that dried, we took the Anastasia Beverly Hills, I believe it's called Undressed lip gloss, and their lip glosses are super pigmented, so it's almost like putting another lipstick on top. So at this point, I like to go back and do any touch-ups or see if I've missed anything. Right now I'm just deepening the crease just a tiny bit with the Havana bronzer. I also like to go back and cover the lash band with the liquid eyeliner and just to touch up the liner just a little bit. So I'm going to be adding the NYC white eyeliner in her waterline. I love the look of white eyeliner in waterlines. My style of makeup is very big eye kind of makeup, so this really opens up your eyes and makes your eyes look super bright. I'm also going to be adding a little bit more contour just because I wanted it to be kind of more bronze and kind of a little more contoured. And I'm also going to be going back into that highlighter and just touching it up a bit, just because since we touched up the other products, it gets a little bit less glowy. I'm also going to be putting that in the corners of her eyes. Once again, it does brighten up the whole look and make everything look a little bit brighter. I'm also going to be adding mascara on her bottom lashes. Last thing I'm going to do is just set her face with the Urban Decay setting spray. So this is the final look. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so I know to do more client videos. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow Danielle on her Instagram, which is going to be in the title. Thanks, guys.